vast, unforgiving ocean stretched out before them, a dark expanse under a moonless sky. Aboard a colossal naval vessel, a behemoth of steel and power, the crew stood vigilant, their eyes scanning the horizon. The rhythmic thrum of the engines, the gentle sway of the ship, the only sounds in the oppressive silence of the night. Then, a flicker of light, a pinpoint in the distance, growing steadily larger, closer. Alarm bells rang through the ship, jolting the crew into action. The light, now clearly visible, appeared to be another vessel, its course set on a direct collision with their own. Frantic signals were sent, desperate attempts to avert disaster. But the light continued its inexorable approach, growing larger, brighter, more menacing with each passing moment. Panic gripped the crew, the fear of imminent collision palpable in the tense silence. Orders were barked, the ship manoeuvring desperately to avoid the oncoming vessel. The light grew blindingly bright, filling the night with its eerie glow. Collision seemed inevitable, the crushing force of impact just moments away. And then a voice, strained and disbelieving, broke the silence. It's a lighthouse. The ship, mere moments from disaster, swerved violently, narrowly avoiding the rocky shore. The lighthouse, a towering sentinel against the dark, stood firm, its light casting a long accusatory beam across the churning waters. The crew, shaken and bewildered, stared back at the lighthouse, their hearts pounding in their chests. Relief washed over them, quickly followed by a chilling realization. How could they have mistaken a stationary lighthouse for a moving vessel? Had their senses been deceived, or was there something more sinister at play? Whispers spread through the ship, tales of ghostly lights and phantom vessels, of a malevolent force that lured ships to their doom. And then, years later, another ship, sailing the same treacherous waters, reported a similar encounter. A blinding light, a near collision, and then the chilling realization that the light was not a ship, but something far more unsettling. Something that stood on the shore, beckoning them closer, its light a siren song of destruction. The legend of the Hook is one of the most chilling tales passed down from generation to generation, a nightmare born from the darkest corners of America. It begins as many terrifying stories do, with a teenage couple parked in the isolation of a lover's lane, the night quiet and peaceful, their only company the stars above. But in the darkness, a sinister figure lurks, a deranged murderer with a hook in place of a hand, stalking the unsuspecting victims from the shadows. It is said that the killer, known only as the Hook or Hookman, escaped from a nearby mental asylum, his mind shattered by years of torment and isolation. He had fashioned a deadly prosthesis for his missing hand, a sharp, glistening hook that could tear through flesh and bone with brutal efficiency. For months, he roamed the surrounding area, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. The teenage couple, lost in their own world, would hear nothing at first, just the soft rustle of trees and the occasional creak of the car. But then, a sound, a scraping, dragging noise that sent chills through their spines. The boy, too preoccupied with the girl, would brush it off as nothing more than the wind. But then came the warning, a frantic radio report about an escaped convict, and then the scream. When the couple finally drove off in a panic, they discovered that their car door had been slashed open, and a blood-streaked hook was left dangling from the handle. In the rearview mirror, they could still see the figure of the Hook watching from the trees, his eyes gleaming in the night. To this day, the legend haunts lovers' lanes and secluded roads, reminding us that there are horrors hidden in the dark, waiting just out of sight. And sometimes, when the night is too quiet and the wind too still, you might hear the scrape of metal against metal. In the dark, misty roads of Japan, there's a terrifying tale that haunts the streets, one that sends a shiver down the spine of anyone who dares drive at night. It is the legend of the headless rider, a ghostly figure of a motorcyclist, forever cursed to ride the roads without a head. The story begins with a tragic accident that occurred years ago. A young man speeding down a desolate road on his motorcycle was unaware of the danger ahead. In the dead of night, someone, no one knows who, had stretched piano wire across the road, the thin, almost invisible strands ready to catch the unsuspecting. The rider, unable to see the wire in time, crashed into it at full speed. The wire snapped tight, decapitating him instantly, his head flying off as his body crumpled to the ground. His motorcycle slid to a stop, the engine sputtering its final breath in the silence of the night. But death was not the end for this rider. As the legend goes, the rider's ghost now haunts the road where he perished, a headless figure speeding through the night on his motorcycle. The faint sound of revving engines fills the air as he approaches, and those who have encountered him report seeing a rider in a dark helmet and leather jacket, his hands gripping the handlebars with unnatural force. But when they get close enough, the rider's neck is eerily empty, no head to be found. The headless rider is said to seek vengeance on those who dare drive too fast or too recklessly, as he once did. Many have reported seeing him in their rear view mirrors, gaining speed until he's almost upon them, only for him to vanish just before impact. But some unlucky few have been followed, and on rare occasions they've felt the chilling brush of a headless figure passing by, a warning to never forget the deadly cost of speed. So, if you find yourself alone on a lonely, dark road in Japan and you hear the roar of a motorcycle behind you, be wary. The headless rider may be catching up to you, ready to claim another victim for his endless ride through the night. In the chaos of war, amidst the smoke and screams of battle, some stories emerge from the darkness, tales of spirits that refuse to be silenced, legends that are born from blood and fire. The ghost of Kiev is one such tale, a chilling legend from the heart of Ukraine, a story whispered in hushed tones by soldiers and civilians alike. It begins with the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, a brutal and unprovoked assault that shattered the peace and ignited a deadly conflict. As Kiev, the capital city, came under siege, the Ukrainian forces fought desperately to defend their homeland. In the sky above, a lone fighter jet appeared, a phantom of war. This mysterious pilot, whose identity was never fully known, became the stuff of legend. The ghost of Kiev was born. The first reports came from soldiers, astonished, who claimed to have seen a single Ukrainian fighter jet soaring above the city, cutting through the darkened skies with unearthly precision. This pilot, swift, deadly, and seemingly invincible, would appear out of nowhere, striking fear into the hearts of Russian invaders. It was said that no one could match the skill of the Ghost of Kiev, as the mysterious aviator downed enemy aircraft one after another, defying all logic, all expectation. Some believed the ghost was a ghost indeed, a spirit of vengeance haunting the sky, refusing to let Kiev fall. As the story spread, so did the rumours. Some whispered that the ghost of Kiev was not just a man, but a soul driven by fury and hatred, seeking retribution for the lives lost in the war. Others spoke of the ghost as a force beyond the realm of the living, an unearthly presence summoned by the cries of the innocent. There were accounts of a shadowy figure in the cockpit, eyes gleaming with an intensity that sent shivers down the spine of those who saw it, a presence that seemed almost otherworldly. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the ghost of Kiev vanished. No one saw the fighter jet again, and the battlefield was left in silence. Some say the pilot died in the air, their soul never truly leaving the skies. Others claim the ghost still watches over Kiev, waiting, forever bound to the city's defence. But one thing is certain: the ghost of Kiev remains a haunting symbol of defiance in the face of darkness, a spectral guardian who will never be forgotten. The legend lives on, a story that lingers in the air like the distant roar of engines, a reminder that in the darkest hours even death can take flight. In the shadowy winters of New England, the tale of fair Charlotte is whispered among families, a haunting reminder of vanity and foolish pride. On a bone-chilling New Year's Eve, Charlotte, a young girl renowned for her beauty, was preparing to attend a grand winter ball. She chose a dress of delicate silk, the latest fashion, a gown that shimmered in the candlelight and caught every admiring eye. Her mother urged her to wrap up in thick furs to ward off the bitter cold, but Charlotte refused, scoffing at the idea of covering her beautiful dress with heavy, unsightly coats. As the sleigh arrived to carry her to the ball, the air was sharp and biting, the night blanketed in snow and silence. Her friends, bundled in layers, shivered as they watched her climb into the sleigh, her bare shoulders exposed to the icy wind. As the sleigh bells jingled and they set off into the darkness, the snow began to fall heavily, swirling in the air like ghostly fingers. The ride was long, and the cold crept in like a silent predator. Charlotte, proud and unyielding, ignored the numbness spreading through her limbs, her mind fixed only on her image as she arrived at the ball. Her friends tried to coax her into covering herself with a spare coat, but she laughed them off, her words carried away by the howling wind. "I want them to see me just as I am," she had said, her eyes gleaming with pride. By the time they arrived at the ball, the laughter had ceased, and Charlotte was silent, her head tilted to one side, her face frozen in an eerie, unchanging expression. Her friends shook her, called her name, but Charlotte did not respond. Her skin was cold, her lips blue. She had frozen to death on the journey, her beauty preserved in a ghostly, terrible stillness. News of Charlotte's fate spread quickly, and her story became a cautionary tale across New England. Mothers warned their daughters of fair Charlotte, the girl who had been so consumed by vanity that she sacrificed her life for appearance's sake. Some even claimed that her spirit could be seen on dark, snowy nights, riding in an empty sleigh, her face pale and expressionless, eyes staring blankly into the night, as if forever searching for a warmth that would never return. Today, her story lingers, a chilling reminder to those who hear it. They say if you listen closely on a winter's night, you can hear the faint jingle of sleigh bells and the haunting whisper of a girl's laugh carried on the wind, growing softer until it vanishes into the cold. The tale of fair Charlotte endures as a ghostly warning, a beautiful face, frozen forever in the cruel grasp of vanity and the merciless winter's chill. James Dean's untimely death in 1955 left an eerie shadow over Hollywood, a legacy of rebellion and tragedy. But it was not just his passing that stirred the imaginations of millions. It was the dark legend surrounding his beloved Porsche 550 Spider, ominously nicknamed Little Bastard. The car, the very machine in which Dean met his end on a lonely California highway, would go on to become infamous in its own right, woven into a web of curses, accidents, and unexplained events that would haunt anyone who dared come near it. Dean, known for his fascination with speed, had poured his passion into the sleek silver Porsche, a car that felt like an extension of his own persona. Dangerous, alluring, and defiant. Friends warned him about the car, claiming it gave off a sinister aura, but Dean shrugged off their concerns. Some even said they'd had visions of his death behind its wheel. Yet, on September 30th, 1955, as Dean raced down Route 466, Little Bastard met its fate, colliding with another vehicle in a brutal accident that killed him instantly. But while Dean's life ended that day, the story of Little Bastard had only just begun. The wreckage of the car was carted off, twisted and mangled, a ghostly reminder of the tragedy. Yet, for some, the remnants held a dark allure. People began to scavenge parts from the Porsche, hoping to claim a piece of history. But they would soon realise that they had taken more than just a piece of metal. They had inherited a curse. The parts from Dean's Little Bastard seemed to carry with them a thirst for destruction, a dark legacy that brought disaster upon any who dared touch it. The first victim was a mechanic who purchased the car's engine and installed it into his own race car. During his first race with the engine, he lost control, careening off the track and meeting his death in a fiery crash. Another racer, who had taken the transmission from Dean's Porsche, suffered a near-identical fate, his vehicle flipping violently on a seemingly safe track. Both men perished, their deaths eerily mirroring Dean's own tragic end, as if the spirit of Little Bastard demanded more lives. Other parts of the car met equally chilling fates. 2 tyres taken from the Porsche blew out simultaneously, causing the driver's car to swerve off the road and overturn, leaving him gravely injured. Those who witnessed the crash claimed that the tyres had seemed perfectly fine beforehand, as if they'd been sabotaged by an unseen force. Another story tells of a physician who purchased the Porsche's blood-stained seats, hoping to restore them, only to find his home inexplicably caught in a blaze soon after, destroying not only the seats, but his life's belongings. The fire's cause was never determined. The twisted remains of Little Bastard were eventually purchased destruction. In one instance, it fell off its display stand and crushed a nearby bystander's legs. Another time, it slipped loose from its moorings while being transported and killed a truck driver in a horrific accident. It was as if the car itself resented being confined, lashing out at anyone who dared contain it. The final mystery came in 1960, when Little Bastard was in transit to a museum exhibit. Somewhere along the journey, the cursed wreck simply vanished. No one could account for its disappearance, and to this day, Little Bastard remains lost, its twisted metal and dark history dissolved into thin air. Rumours abound, with some believing the car escaped to fulfill its unholy mission, others saying it was buried to rid the world of its curse, and a few even speculating that it reappears now and then, hidden in a collector's vault, waiting to be unleashed once more. The tale of Little Bastard endures, an urban legend of fear and fascination. For those who hear it, there's an uneasy question. Could a machine be haunted, possessed by the spirit of its past? In the shadow-laden landscape of American folklore, few tales evoke the chill of the Crybaby Bridge. Across the United States, numerous bridges bear this macabre nickname, each story rooted in a haunting event so sorrowful that the echoes seem to transcend time itself. These structures, often decrepit and isolated, are united by the eerie phenomenon of phantom infant wails that pierce the stillness of the night. One such bridge looms on the outskirts of a small, weathered town, cloaked in the thick mists that rise from the river below. Local legend has it that many decades ago, a young mother, driven by despair and madness, threw her newborn child from the bridge into the icy waters beneath. They say she was consumed by grief and torment over her deed, and that her wails mingled with those of her child in a symphony of anguish. Overcome by remorse, she leapt to her own death, hoping in vain to join her child in the depths. Since that fateful night, those who dare to walk the bridge after dark report hearing the harrowing sounds of a baby's cries, so real and so close that they turn in desperation, searching for the child they can never find. Some also hear the ghostly lament of the mother, a mournful wail that drifts across the river and settles like a cold shroud upon the hearts of the listeners. The Crybaby Bridge has become a rite of passage for the local youth, a test of courage or foolhardiness. Teenagers gather in hushed groups, their voices low, as they dare one another to cross the bridge at midnight. Armed only with flashlights that cast long, ominous shadows, they step onto the creaking wood, each plank groaning under the weight of the grim history it bears. As they reach the centre, where the river runs darkest, the cries begin. At first, a soft whimpering, it soon swells into a crescendo of screams, so visceral that many flee in terror, swearing never to return. Others speak of seeing a spectral figure of a woman, her gown flowing and pale in the moonlight, her arms reaching out for the child she will never hold again. Cameras and phones, intended to capture proof, inexplicably fail, leaving only the memories of those haunted by what they have experienced. The Crybaby Bridge serves as a stark reminder of the past's grip on the present, its story passed down through generations as a chilling warning. It is a place where the boundary between this world and the next is thin, where sorrow and tragedy are etched into the very landscape, and the cries of the lost are never far from earshot. Let's unwind with a chilling tale, the choking Doberman, a mysterious intruder, a loyal pet, and a terrifying discovery will take you into the shadows. Relax and let the story begin. On a cold, dark night, a woman returned home after a long day. Her house was eerie was lodged in its throat. Panicked, the woman knelt beside her beloved pet, trying to comfort him. His choking worsened, and she knew she had to act fast. Without hesitation, she scooped up the Doberman and sped to the nearest vet clinic, her heart pounding as her dog gasped for air in the back seat. Every passing moment felt like an eternity. When they arrived, the vet wasted no time. They sedated the dog and began to investigate the source of the obstruction. What they found made the vet's face go pale. He slowly pulled out a severed human finger from the Doberman's throat. The woman stood frozen in shock as the vet explained what had caused her dog's distress. A chilling sense of dread crept over her. Whose finger was it? The vet urged her to call the police immediately. Shaking, she dialed 911 and told the dispatcher what had happened. The operator's voice, initially calm, quickly grew tense. "Get out of the house, Mom. Now!" Confused and terrified, the woman grabbed her keys and ran outside, just as the police arrived. They searched the house, checking every room, every shadowy corner. In the master bedroom, they found him. A man hiding under the bed, bleeding profusely from his hand. His face twisted in agony, and his eyes were wide with panic. The police quickly apprehended him. It became clear that the intruder had broken into the house while the woman was away, but her Doberman had caught him in the act, biting off his finger as he fought back. The woman stood outside, staring at the house that had once felt like a sanctuary. The image of her brave dog choking on that grotesque finger replayed in her mind. Her blood running cold. What if the dog hadn't intervened? What if she had come home earlier? Those questions lingered, gnawing at her sanity, long after the intruder was taken away. The dog, her loyal protector, had saved her life, but at a horrifying cost. Welcome to our soothing journey into the mysterious world of urban legends. Tonight, we'll explore the haunting tale of the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, a story that whispers through the ages. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall is one of the most famous ghost stories in England, originating from the picturesque Raynham Hall in Norfolk. This legend captures the imagination of those fascinated by the supernatural and the unexplained. Raynham Hall, built in the early 18th century, was the ancestral home of the Townshend family. It is a grand estate characterised by its stunning architecture and beautiful grounds, but it also harbours a chilling tale of loss and lingering spirits. The story of the Brown Lady is closely linked to Lady Dorothy Walpole, the sister of the first Prime Minister, Sir Robert Walpole. It is said that she married Charles Townshend, a man known for his volatile temperament. The couple's marriage was fraught with difficulties, leading to tragedy and heartbreak. According to legend, Lady Dorothy fell in love with another man, which enraged her husband. In a fit of jealousy, Townshend confined her to Raynham Hall, where she was said to have lived in isolation for many years. Her suffering took a toll on her health, and it is believed that she eventually died of despair. Some accounts suggest that she was buried in a secret location, leading to speculation about a restless spirit haunting the halls of the estate. The haunting began to capture public attention in the early 20th century when two photographers, including Captain Hubert Provat, visited Raynham Hall in 1936. They were there to capture images of the historic building when they encountered an unexpected sight. As they set up their equipment, a figure appeared before them, a woman in a flowing brown gown, seemingly floating down the staircase. Provat and his colleague quickly snapped a photograph, which would later become one of the most famous ghost images in history. The photograph, it has become an enduring symbol of the paranormal and a centerpiece of ghost lore. The legend of the Brown Lady has continued to evolve over the years, with numerous accounts of sightings and experiences recounted by visitors to Raynham Hall. Some have reported feelings of unease, strange noises, and even glimpses of the ghostly figure in her iconic brown gown. These tales have cemented the Brown Lady's status as one of England's most notorious spirits. Today, Raynham Hall stands as a historic estate that welcomes visitors curious about its intriguing past. Ghost tours and paranormal investigations often highlight the story of the Brown Lady, allowing guests to delve into the haunting narrative that lingers in the air. We journey into the misty woods of Bradley, where the sorrowful spirit of the Black Lady roams. Let her quiet footsteps guide you into a peaceful, restful sleep. The Black Lady of Bradley Woods is a haunting figure from English folklore, said to roam the dark and mysterious woods near the village of Bradley in Lincolnshire. This spectral presence has been a part of local legend for centuries, with many claiming to have caught glimpses of her wandering the woods, shrouded in sorrow and silence. Described as a tall, slender woman dressed entirely in black, the Black Lady is most often seen wearing a long, flowing cloak with a hood that covers her face. Her appearance is always marked by an overwhelming sense of sadness and grief, as if she is forever searching for something or someone lost. Her skin is pale, and her eyes, when visible, are filled with an eternal sorrow that seems to pierce through those who encounter her. According to the most well-known version of the legend, the Black Lady was once a young woman during the medieval period who lived happily with her husband, a soldier, and their newborn child in a cottage near the woods. However, her peaceful life was shattered when her husband was called away to fight in the wars. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but he never returned. Then, one tragic night, a group of soldiers reportedly attacked the village, killing many and abducting the young woman's child. Devastated by the loss of her family, the young mother wandered the woods, searching endlessly for her child, until her grief consumed her, and she eventually perished. From that moment on, her restless spirit is said to have remained bound to the woods, eternally searching for her lost baby. Locals claim that the Black Lady appears most often on misty evenings, her figure emerging from the shadows of the trees. Some say she will ask passers-by if they have seen her child, while others report that she simply stares, lost in her grief, before vanishing back into the darkness. Over the years, the legend of the Black Lady has served as a cautionary tale for children, warning them to stay away from the woods after dark. While many are skeptical, there are still those who believe in her presence, and stories of sightings continue to circulate. Whether real or imagined, the Black Lady of Bradley Woods remains a symbol of deep sorrow and eternal longing. Her tragic story lingers in the minds of those who hear it, casting a shadow of mystery and sadness over the quiet village of Bradley. Tonight, we venture into the forests of North America to explore the legendary tale of Bigfoot. Relax, unwind, and let this mysterious story of the elusive creature guide you gently into sleep. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is one of the most well-known and enduring legends in North American folklore. Described as an ape-like creature, Bigfoot is said to inhabit the dense forests and remote wilderness areas across the continent, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. Sightings of the elusive creature date back centuries, with Native American tribes sharing stories of a large, hairy being that roamed the forests. The modern legend of Bigfoot gained widespread attention in the mid-20th century when numerous reports of sightings began to surface. Witnesses described the creature as standing anywhere between 6 and 9 feet tall, covered in dark fur with massive footprints, hence the name Bigfoot. It is often depicted as a shy, reclusive being that avoids human contact, yet its occasional sightings and the discovery of large footprints in remote areas have kept the legend alive. The most famous piece of supposed evidence is the 1967 Patterson-Gimlin film, which claims to capture footage of a Bigfoot walking through a forest in California. Though the authenticity of the film has been widely debated, it remains an iconic part of Bigfoot lore. Despite countless expeditions, no concrete scientific proof of Bigfoot's existence has ever been found. Skeptics argue that sightings can be explained by misidentifications of known animals or hoaxes, while believers insist that the creature remains undiscovered due to its remote habitat and elusive nature. Whether real or a product of imagination, Bigfoot continues to captivate people's curiosity. The legend has become ingrained in popular culture, inspiring books, movies, and documentaries. While evidence may be lacking, the mystery of Bigfoot endures, keeping the folklore alive and fueling the imaginations of those who believe that something extraordinary still roams the forests of North America. Tonight we journey to the misty moors of Cornwall to uncover the legend of the beast of Bodmin Moor. Relax, unwind, and let this mysterious tale help you drift into sleep. The beast of Bodmin Moor is a popular folklore legend from Cornwall, England, centred around sightings of a mysterious, large, black cat-like creature. First reported in 1978, the legend of the beast quickly gained traction as locals began to claim encounters with a phantom panther or leopard-like animal roaming the wild expanses of Bodmin Moor. This eerie creature was said to have sleek black fur, glowing eyes, and a muscular build, often compared to big cats that typically wouldn't be found in the English countryside. The beast of Bodmin Moor gained further notoriety, with reports of mutilated livestock, particularly sheep, that appeared to have been slain by a large predator. Farmers and locals were alarmed by these unexplained killings, which led to speculation that a dangerous wild animal was on the loose. The creature was believed to be responsible for these attacks, and over time the legend grew, with sightings occasionally reported even decades after the initial claims. Despite extensive investigations, including one by the British government in 1995, no conclusive evidence of the beast's existence has ever been found. The government's inquiry concluded that there was no verifiable proof this day, the beast of Bodmin Moor remains a staple of local folklore, continuing to spark curiosity and fear among both residents and visitors to the moor, adding a layer of mystery to the rugged landscape of Cornwall. Tonight, we delve into the eerie tale of the ankle-slicing car thief. Relax as we explore this unsettling urban legend, where the ordinary meets the unexpected in a chilling encounter. The ankle-slicing car thief, also known as the man under the car, is a chilling urban legend that preys on the fear of being attacked in a vulnerable moment. The story typically begins with a driver who, while on the road, starts hearing strange noises coming from underneath their car. Concerned about the source of the noise, they eventually pull over and step out of the vehicle to investigate. Unbeknownst to them, a car thief is hiding under the car, waiting for this exact moment. As soon as the driver kneels down or bends over to check for the issue, the thief strikes, slicing open the driver's ankles with a knife. Immobilized by pain and unable to move, the driver is left helpless, rolling on the ground in agony. Meanwhile, the thief quickly emerges from under the car, climbs into the driver's seat, and steals the vehicle, leaving the victim stranded and injured. This urban legend plays on a common fear of being ambushed when least expected, particularly in situations where one is isolated and defenceless. The image of a thief lying in wait under a car, prepared to attack with such a brutal method, has been enough to make many people anxious about checking their cars after hearing strange noises. However, like many urban legends, there's no evidence to support that such incidents have actually occurred. Despite its vivid and terrifying details, the story seems to exist purely in the realm of folklore, circulated through word of mouth, email chains, and internet forums over the years. The legend taps into primal fears of vulnerability, blending them with the very real concern of car theft, which makes it a memorable tale for those who hear it. While the ankle-slicing car thief might seem plausible enough to make drivers cautious, it remains just a story, another piece of urban myth that continues to circulate, feeding on the universal fear of being caught off guard in a dangerous situation.